In the previous video, we looked at adding the required field validator and just validation in general. So if you don't know about validation and these validation controls, you might go take a look at that tutorial. I'll put a link on this one to it. The next thing we're going to look at is, well, like I said in the previous video, when we run this, let's run it again. It checks to make sure that there's something in the box. So we'll get an error if we don't have anything in one of these boxes. Our error message will pop up. But it doesn't really check to see what's in the box. So if I type some text instead of a number in here, I can still cause a problem, get this yellow screen. So the next thing we'll look at is adding a different type of validation control. And in this case, we're going to look at adding what's called a range validator. So I'm going to drop the range, or grab a range validator and bring it off, and I'm going to put it on here right after my required field validator. So in this case, I'm sticking it here. So again, position is important for this. I want it to appear somewhere around on the same line as my prompt text for this text box. So I'll have, again, if I just look at the straight HTML, I'll have the enter age. Then I have my required field validator. And I want to leave this one on here because this one checks to make sure that there's something in the box. And then this range validator is the one that will say, well, let's actually check and see what is in the box, not that there's something there. Because the range validator won't check to see that there's actually content or something in the box. So just like with the required field validator, on this range validator, I need to change the error message. And let's say for this age, and we're asking someone to enter their age. Well, let's say we want the age to be between 1 and, let's say, 130. So I'm going to change my error message to say age must be between 1 and 130. So I'm going to put some, 130, an explanation for the user. And then I'm also going to add the control to validate. And it's going to be the same thing as for the required field validator. I'm going to say, let's check txt age. Otherwise, we could be checking any box. Rather, we wouldn't be checking any box and would get an error if we don't set the control to validate. Then on this one, we also have to check to see the minimum value and the maximum value. So if I want the minimum value to be 1 and the maximum value to be 130, I just enter these as minimum and maximum values. That's where the range validator, you got to put a range on it. And the last thing I have to do is say what type is our data. So our type is going to be integer. I guess we could use a double. We could say it could like 1.1, but I'm going to say integer, so it's got to be a whole number. So with this much in here, oh, you know what? Let's also set the foreground color. Let's change the text color so we can see it. So it's kind of similar to the required field validator, but it's again, we have to have this minimum maximum value because this time we're saying the number has to be in a range. So let's test this out. And when we run this now, if I put nothing in here, we'll see the please enter age. But if I put something in here that's incorrect, we see the other error message. So we get this error message for the range validator, not for the required field validator. Or if I put a number in here that's greater than 130, we'll get that error message. So let's put something else. Let's get rid of that one just so you see it pop up. So put the age as 255. It's out of range, so we get this error message. So notice the other thing with this, position matters, but it's leaving the space for my other error message here. So if I want to scoot this guy over to the left, I need to do some positioning. We'll do that with cascading style sheets. So let's go do that. We'll do the style sheet stuff, and we'll also add this range validator to the shoe size. So the first thing I'm going to do on this guy is add a CSS class. So say a CSS class in this case is age range, and then up here in my CSS I will scoot him over a little bit. I want to scoot him to the left. And I apologize if you don't understand CSS. It's too much to explain here, but hopefully you do. So I'm going to set its position to relative, which says change his position relative to where he's at rather than to the upper left corner, so where it is in the normal flow. And then what I want to do is set the left to like minus, I'm going to say like minus 5M, and scoot him to the left a little bit. Okay, so we'll try that out. Then the next thing I'm going to do is add a range validator to our shoe size box. So I'm going to copy and paste the code. The error message here will just say shoe size must be between, and let's make it 1 and, I don't know, 18, and we'll assume that we're doing US sizes, not European sizes. And then our control to validate is going to be txt shoe, and then we'll set our minimum value of 1 and our maximum value of 18, and we'll leave the type integer, and then we'll also change this this to shoe range rather than age range, and we'll scoot him, end up scooting him over as well. You actually know, well, we'll just change that, and we can check it out and see it later. So let's test this out. We start it up, and again, if we put nothing in either one of these, we'll get the first message. And if I put an actual valid value in here, 52, and then something that's not okay in here, 9, get this message. So again, we want to scoot this one over to the left. Let's put a something that's not valid in here and see if we scooted that left. So we actually need to scoot him the left even more. So that's something well, let's just go monkey around with it and fix it now. So you get the idea. Oh, you know what? Obviously I messed up. I didn't put my style tag in there. So because I'm seeing the style information here. So let's go fix that real quickly. So watching this video probably wonder what kind of goofy stuff I'm doing. So I need to put my style tag in here. Oops. Type equals text/CSS. Okay, so let's run it one more time. And take this out. Let's put 255, something out of range. Okay, so you notice it's scooted over. We just need to scoot it over a little bit more. And I'll do this one more, and then we'll quit goofing around. So you have to play with this. You know, 5M scooting it to the left is not enough, so I'm going to scoot it over 8M. And we'll run it one last time. And so you can sit there and just, you know, scooch it one way if it goes too far, and then don't scoot it as much if it's not scooting far enough. Scoot a little bit more. So if I put in an incorrect value, it's getting close. Actually, that looks pretty good there. So it pops this up. Age must be between 1 and 130. And same thing, we could fix this one. We put something that's not a number. So you know this is much better than the yellow screen. The only trick is we need to again scoot this guy to the left, and we use CSS to relative positioning. So just to summarize on this one, this is the range validator. And when you add a range validator, you still have to say which control you want to validate. You have to pop that on there. But then you also have to pop in or add the properties for the minimum value and the maximum value. And you also must add the type. And our type, I don't know if you saw this when I was doing this before. We have a choice on type. It can be currency, so we could say, you know, if we're asking about currency, you can say, no, it has to be between $1 and $5,000, whatever it is. Or it could be dates, so that you could get the dates to be a range. Or it could be in a number. And I'm not sure the string, how I have the string in a range. I'd have to check on that. And it looks like there's one more down here. Oh, maybe there's not. So again, we could set it for numbers, type equals. In this case, we'll do integer. And that is the range validator.